Every season, some NBA players fall off, while others level up, and we're looking at 11 of them. Thanks to thousands of hours of hard work and dedication over the offseason, there's always at least a few players that take their games to the next level. You can often see it coming and who's gonna take that leap, but sometimes there's flat out surprises, and we're about to get into a lot of both cases. Starting first with Bol Bol, who's finally been given the chance he deserved this year by the Orlando Magic. And this is one I think a lot of people actually saw coming. I mean, I think everyone expected the Magic to give Bol a chance because why wouldn't you? And that's what didn't make sense when he was on the Nuggets. It seemed like every single fan was under the belief that he had all the potential in the world. But apparently Denver just didn't see it that way, and I guess it makes sense. They're a playoff team ready to compete, so it was hard for them to take the time and a chance on a young guy in the middle of the season. But I mean, MPJ was out all last year, so I think they could have done something. Either way though, the Orlando Magic were in a much better position to give him that opportunity, and he's run with it, putting up great numbers in just the few games that he's played so far. Listen, the dude's a freak of nature, and he's already shown out a few times early this season. The Magic still suck, but I'm excited to see what this young team pulls together over a few more years. Now, I don't think there's any player in the NBA that's shown as much improvement and leveled up more than Donovan Mitchell has. But first, I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. So if you don't know what SeatGeek is, I should probably start there. They're a ticketing app that makes buying them super simple. I got the app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way to buy tickets. I used it just recently to get tickets to an upcoming comedy show, and of course, I use my promo code SWEAT to get $20 off my tickets on SeatGeek, and you can too the next time you go to a concert, sporting event, festival, or many other live shows. Personally, I use SeatGeek because they make buying super simple by taking tickets from all over the web and putting them into one place. They even care about you too, so they mark each deal. Green means good and red means bad. So if you want to join in on the fun, use code SWEAT for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code SWEAT. Make sure you click the link in the description and download the app. Shout out to SeatGeek for the sponsor. Now back to the video. He's currently averaging career highs in points per game, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage, and isn't showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon. And it makes sense. He mentioned on JJ Redick's podcast how he didn't take as big of a leap as he wanted to last season, which was a good sign that he was going to be putting in double the work this offseason to come out a new player, and he has. And it helps that the Cleveland Cavaliers are 100% exactly the perfect roster for him to play with. This Cavs team is actually my new favorite to watch, and I'm excited for their future. With the Jazz, Donovan had too much responsibility on offense. Him and Rudy Gobert's games didn't mesh well, and Rudy was way too inconsistent offensively. But now on this current Cavaliers team, they have 5 other guys that can all score the ball, and 2 that are elite defensively, so he really isn't missing playing with Gobert. Out of anything that happens this season, I'm just hoping Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs can keep up this pace. But speaking of the Utah Jazz and keeping up their pace, I still can't get over the fact that they're sitting at first place in the West right now. And that's a big thanks to Lauri Markkanen, who's apparently their new star player. And okay, I mean, I know my last video was players it's time to give up on, but Lauri's showing why you should never really give up on a young player. Listen, things could change up real quick, but right now it seems like he's found the perfect system for himself to play like a star, and he finally is. Hitting step backs, contested threes, and taking players off the dribble while occasionally coming up big on defense. The dude's finally playing like everyone expected him to when he was drafted. For years he had this potential in Chicago, but was never able to really show it, and then people kind of gave up on him on the Cavs. But at the pace he's going now, I don't expect him to continue to keep the Jazz at the top of the Western Conference, but if he can at least continue to average a career high 20 and 10, then he's without a doubt going to be an all-star for the first time in his career. On the other hand, Luka Doncic is no stranger to being an all-star, and yet somehow he continues to get better every single season. As of the making of this video, he's averaging 36, 8, and 8. And if this continues, well, these are historic numbers that we've never seen someone put up before. And of course, it's easy to say that these will drop and he couldn't keep this up, but every year now he's just getting closer and closer to his prime. So it should be no surprise for him to come out and take another big leap like this on any given year. I will say though that I don't know if this is a good thing, because the more and more Luka does every night means his teammates are doing less and less. It's getting to the point where he might just need to take a step back, do a little bit less, and get his teammates more involved. That's just for the sake of the Mavs though. For the sake of fans like me, I just want to see Luka do as much as possible. Win or lose, I want to see this man average 50 because it'd be entertaining. Either way though, by the looks of things, and even not just statistically, just by the looks of how he's playing on the court, I'd say Luka's definitely leveled up, which should be pretty scary for everyone else. Tyrese Haliburton's another player that's really taken his game to that next step, and I don't think it's anything he's done specifically, but him moving from the Kings to the Pacers has been huge for him. He went from being the second or even third option on the Kings at times to being the #1 go-to guy in Indiana, and it's paid off because he's gone from averaging 14 and 7 for the Kings to 21 and 10 on the Pacers this year, making him by far one of the best early candidates for the Most Improved Player award. It was just such a natural transition because obviously he was in a bad spot in Sacramento, playing point guard at the same time as De'Aaron Fox. Another point guard making a lot of noise this year thanks to his new situation is Anfernee Simons. I really didn't see it in him in his first few years in Portland. I didn't think he was going to turn out to be this good, but the Blazers believed in him, and for good reason. Obviously, biggest major jump this year has come thanks to the team trading away CJ McCollum in the offseason. I mean, even last year, Anfernee had a huge jump up to averaging 17 points a game, even though he came mostly off the bench. But to start this year, in his first full-time role as a starter, he's already putting up 22 a game. And don't get me wrong, he's no CJ McCollum yet, but it now makes a lot more sense why the Blazers were willing to trade him, because they had another 20-point per game shooting guard ready to take his spot. And right now, I like how the Blazers look, so I'm not mad about it. It took him till his 5th season, but he looks confident bringing the ball up the court, scoring whenever he wants, playing at a good pace, and getting good shots off the dribble. So shout out to Simons, and I hope he keeps this up. In the offseason, one of the players it was most clear, at least to me, that would level up this season was Desmond Bane, and he has not disappointed. He arguably could have won the most improved last year, and now he's making a case for it again this season. And when you do that in back-to-back years, that's really worth mentioning. Right now, this dude's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. He barely ever misses from 3, is an excellent defender, is the perfect second option to Ja Morant, knows exactly what his role on the team is, and I think he's perfected it. And he really did just join this Grizzlies team and swoop in and take Dillon Brooks' role right out from under him. Dillon was in this spot for a few years, but Bane has come along and done it so much better. And now with Ja and him being pretty much the same age, I can't wait to see what these guys do for the next few years. And Desmond Bane is actually the same age as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who hasn't really taken his game to the next level in a few seasons. Because at the moment, he's averaging 36 and 5, and I'll be honest, this has come out of nowhere for me. I could be wrong, but he looks like he's not going to be slowing down anytime soon. I mean, it's hardly a fluke anyways. He scored over 30 against a lot of elite defensive teams already this year. Honestly, I thought we had already seen the best we were gonna from Shai. I thought he was gonna be a 23 to 24 point per game scorer from here on out. So it's really been surprising to see him playing the way he has. Listen, the OKC Thunder are still such a bad team and are still years away from making any real noise, but if Shai keeps playing like this, maybe they're not that far away. Now, I want to mention a player that most of you probably weren't expecting, but Alperen Sengun has been on it this year. Houston traded 2 first-round picks to get him last year, and I didn't really see what they were going for, and as the season played out, obviously I wasn't crazy to think that, because he averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds as a rookie off the bench. But this year, he's been mostly a starter, putting up 17 and 10. And of course, it doesn't really mean much if you're putting up monster numbers if you're on the worst team in the NBA, which Sengun is, but I think there's something there. It's not like he's the star of the team and only scoring because nobody else can. There's a lot of good scorers on the roster, and he's actually making a lot of his own opportunities by finding ways to get open and being crafty around the basket. Now, this could be nothing, and it could be a fluke, or when the Rockets finally get good again, Alperen Sengun could be a player to keep your eye on. And speaking of getting on a good team, Lonnie Walker IV went from being a bench guy for the Spurs last year, putting up 12 a game, to being the Lakers' starting shooting guard, averaging about 15 a night right now. And it's not a huge jump. As a matter of fact, none of his stats have dramatically taken a leap or anything. While at the same time, I think he lacks a little bit of consistency that the Lakers need, but he deserves a shout out for stepping up and playing a lot better on a LeBron-led team as a starter. It's such a massively different role, and he made the transition pretty well. Then finally, there's Jayson Tatum, and I knew after last year's finals, I knew when he came back to the regular season, the game would be slowed way down. He'd be way more composed and such a better player, and he has been. Going from putting up 26 a night last year to over 31 points a game right now. I think it only makes sense when looking at his career, how everything went down and how this team's assembled. And with all that said, this year really has potential to elevate him to a superstar status depending on how it goes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out.